Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hope Podcast. Today we have Helena Hayes from Mahaska County. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a true pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. It's just good to have somebody, another person on who's contending for liberty, for freedom, for family, for safe self-defense and Second Amendment, all of the things that we treasure as Americans. So thank you for being here again.
My pleasure.
And can you just, as by way of introduction, quickly just tell people you're from Mahaska County, where, how do people find you? Who's, a lot of people, I just don't want them to not know if they're in your district, they need to know who you are. So
Yes. So I represent District 88 in the Iowa House, which includes the counties of Mahaska, Keokuk, and a little bit of Jefferson County, north of Fairfield. It's a very rural district in terms of, as a matter of fact, it's actually sixth reddest in the state, so sixth most conservative. And
awesome.
And I love representing it because I do believe I reflect the district in its essence of conservatism, and also I've been known at many doors to call it a very Bible believing area. Let's just put it that way. We have a lot of Catholics, we have a lot of Christians, we have a lot of faith-based, even in Fairfield, a lot of faith-based people that live their lives around principles. And so I represent District 88, and I'm from New Sharon. So, I'd like to talk about the kind of breed of Republican I am.
Oh, yeah, please.
If I can.
Yeah,
because
start us off there.
This is my story about how I even got into politics.
I'd love to hear that.
Okay. So, currently, I'm married with. I've been married 32 years to my husband Dan.
Yeah, congratulations.
And yes, we have 3 grown children.
Awesome.
We are almost officially empty nesters. And my oldest daughter is married and has two of my grandchildren. So I'm a grandma now. And
congratulations.
Thank you. It's been awesome. I have a son that's married to a new wife last year, and they're officially homeowners now. Okay.
Whoa, well
so
done.
They're paying attention to property taxes now.
Yeah.
And then I have a son who's 20, my baby of the family, and he's actually serving down at Fort Benning right now. He's in basic training.
In Georgia.
In Georgia, that's right. And at Fort Benning. And so 5 years ago, we had an incident occur in Pella. I live about 20 minutes from Pella. And everybody knows it as the pool incident.
Yeah, you should just rehash it for people who don't know. Yeah.
I tell people, this is the one thing that propelled me. Your propelling into politics was
yes, it was January 6th.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got this one point that was a turning point in you.
Right.
And for me, it was this turning point. Now, a lot of people's are just 2020. Right.
Yeah.
It just so many people have started to engage since then.
Yeah.
That did not necessarily trip my trigger as much as it did. I'm obviously a great proponent for medical freedom and ivermectin, rah, and alternative kinds of things like that. But it was this incident that was very local.
Yeah.
It touched upon a social issue that meant something to me because I value children and the innocence of children.
Yes.
So the incident was a 15-year-old girl that went topless at the pool because she identifies as a boy. And so therefore, as a boy, she can go topless because boys don't wear shirts, right?
Right.
And in Pella.
Little Pella, Iowa.
It's a very
conservative Iowa, yeah.
Dutch Reformed community. The next city council meeting, wall to wall people.
And so how did it become an issue? So this girl walked around topless at the pool. I'm sure that happens from time to time. So it's
Sure.
kids are crazy, right? But it wasn't just that. It was the way the city reacted, right?
It was. And that's why we are here. Why I'm here 5 years later is because of that. Exactly what you said is how they reacted. So go to the city council meeting, wall-to-wall people. You get 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I don't remember what it was, to speak. Person after person after person. Hour or two later, they vote to take no action.
Wow.
And at that time, I would consider myself, like a lot of people right now, when it comes to politics, I would consider myself apathetic.
Yeah.
I was living my life. I still had a child I was teaching at home.
Yep.
I was a grandma by then, and I was busy. I was doing things, I was living life.
Yeah. And trusting that the government is probably, maybe not always right, but kind of looking out for me at least a little bit,
It was after 2020.
Naive though that may have been. Yeah.
So a lot of people are still in that state today, but a lot of us were awakened and angered since then. And this particular incident was my awakening. And so, I went to that city council meeting. And when they said that, I remember looking at them and thinking, I don't understand. I thought you as elected officials responded somehow to the people. But here you took all this input and then you did nothing.
Yeah.
And they did nothing because gender identity was in the Civil Rights Code. And they feared a lawsuit. And I love local control. We know that local city, county governments are struggling financially. They don't want to bring on a burden like that. I get it. But there's a truth there that's pretty simple that is worth fighting for. And that is boys are boys, girls are girls. It's very simple. And so I went home that night and I just remember thinking, I'm confused. I don't understand. And so my neighbor then called me up and was like, we got to do something. What are we going to do?
Yeah. How could it come to this? I mean, I find with this, I'm sure it happens in San Francisco, but this is Pella.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so a group of us got together, 4 or 5 of us, and we're like, what are we going to do? Like, we've never. And so we began to just have conversations and ask questions. And we're like, well, we're going to do what everybody does when they have a problem. Well, we're going to go to the Capitol.
Yeah, okay.
Because the state can fix this.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yep.
So we did. We organized. We came up with a name. We called it Protect My Innocence, from the vantage point of the child.
Yep.
I'm an innocent child. There are harmful things out there. Adults, would you protect my innocence? Which is there when they're born, and that oftentimes is stolen.
Yep.
And so we went to the Capitol, and I'll never forget. I had no idea. Okay, this is apathy in my life. We go up there, and I hadn't been there since.
I think you're voicing the journey of probably a million Iowans right now.
I know. So have hope, everybody.
Yeah.
You can overcome it.
Yes.
So we go up there. And, I hadn't been to the Capitol since 5th grade. Like everybody else. So many people that I entertain there now. They're like, wow, I haven't been here since 5th grade.
It's such a beautiful place, too. I love our
amazing.
Capitol. Yeah.
It's a great place to network. And I'm trying to get people to just come. And, lots of important people with very influential positions are there. You should know them. And
I'm just shocked, just side note, about every time I go there, how accessible you guys are in the Iowa government. Like,
we actually are.
Like, I could go talk to anybody and probably just knock on, like, I kind of feel like I might be able to just knock on Kim Reynolds' door and she might just open it up and let me have a conversation.
Actually, yeah. People have been known to do that, like, especially Eddie Andrews. He just sort of walks in and is like, hey, it's Kim here.
You can't say no to Eddie. I mean, everybody loves Eddie. Yeah.
Eddie's everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, went up there, and for the first time, we had to figure out how to get around the building, and we learned how to put in the little note, the little yellow note. You call out your representative, which, of course, I didn't know who my representative was.
Yeah.
He lived like 10 miles from me. Didn't know who he was. I'm so sorry I have to admit that, but it's true.
Now, had you voted for him, or were you like, where were you at?
I was a voter.
Yeah.
Of course.
But you probably just went and voted the Republican line or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Every 4 years.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
On a primary or a presidential year.
Yep.
That's why this year is so important. Your
100%.
listeners, your audience is so important. It's a midterm. There's always very low turnout in a primary, especially in primaries for my district, are everything. They're everything. It doesn't matter what happens in my general because only the Republican's going to win. Again, I said 6th reddish district, very conservative. Primaries, everything.
Absolutely.
And it determines what kind of Republican do you want.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go up there, and so we gather around our representative, and he came out and spoke to us. And as he's, we're telling him what happened. By this time, we'd also understood the gravity of what was happening in our library. And so we had that conversation too. And we're like, this gender identity
explicit content.
Yes. And so we're talking to him about just the general culture ideas of what was going on, this pushing down onto young children, this idea that they are sexual at birth and that they had to be sexualized in lots of different ways. And the impression that I got was just a apathy. I was apathetic in politics, but he was apathetic on this issue. And I was like, whoa, that's not right. You're a father.
Right.
And this should be something that should bother you to the very core of your being.
Right.
Because the truth is when we disable, or not disable, but when we unstabilize a child,
Yeah.
we create future problems in their lives for a very long time.
Yeah. And we're seeing that as a society now that we're a few years into this. We're seeing like,
exactly.
Well, who are all the school shooters?
Exactly.
Why is depression present at way higher rates in these kids? Why is anxiety present at way higher rates in these kids? Why, it's just thing after thing after thing. It's like, at some point you even if, these people who rejected God and rejected everything, you're having to just bury your head from reality. And like God says, you're going to harvest the seeds that you plant, Well, now the harvest is coming for us, and for those who just stubbornly refuse the truth, I pity them, but I also am not willing to surrender my country to them.
Well, and that's the truth when it comes to the key word in this particular topic is detransitioners, and the amount of detransitioners that are openly coming out and pushing back on this, gays against groomers. They have been the biggest advocate when it comes to pushing back on this transgender agenda that's going on that ruins little children. So, you just don't mess with children. You don't mess with them. Okay, this is why we have such strong laws against child pedophilia and that is something that is just off limits. So anyway,
I just can't believe the brazenness with which people think it's not off limits.
Yeah,
it's. But this is why we fight. It's good for you that you're doing that.
Yeah. So went and realized, went back home, and I was like, gosh, that didn't go very well. That I didn't feel like he was going to ever respond in such a way that I believe needed to be done. So, you know what the Lord does? He calls you to do things that are outside of your comfort zone that you might not even believe you're prepared for or can even do. In my
experience, he usually calls. I don't know if I've ever heard of anyone called when they felt like they were fully prepared. Exactly. You're always called when you're like, I can't do that.
And that totally was me. I have no political background. My background is environmental science and biology.
Which was exactly what we needed, by the way, is people with no political background.
Right, yeah. I mean, it would have been beneficial if I had an attorney degree. That would be useful.
Maybe,
we're reading code, but it's okay because, my background, I was a park ranger, a naturalist from Mahaska County. So, I always loved children and I always loved the outdoors and nature and that connection.
Love that. Yeah.
So anyway, after leaving the Capitol, things continued to kind of just accumulate. And pretty soon I got that little tug and I'm like, no, Lord, no, you're not thinking, no. And sure enough, he called me into this and I accepted and won a very contentious primary. Mm-hmm. And here I am 4 years later. But what is most amazing about where I started, 3 years almost to that day, we passed a bill that that took gender identity out of the Civil Rights Code.
Well, see, and that was such a huge thing that you guys did. And it was such a fight, right?
Oh, yeah. It was a battle.
Well, you got to tell this. Just as an insider, how... So actually, you're talking. Actually, this is where the battle began. Was at the pool in Pella, and then you go to your representative, and the representative says, "Well, I don't care." Or no, first you go to the city council, and they say they don't care. The representative says he doesn't care. So you primary. So this guy that you went with in Des Moines, you primaried him.
I did.
That probably caused a kerfuffle in the community.
It did. And I didn't primary him because he. It was it was nothing personal against him, and it was about the issues. Will you take a stand? Will you stand for something that is so basic and so truthful that it's just common sense and it's not hard?
Yeah.
And
this is why we have primaries.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And again, my district is very conservative, and I like it that way, and I think it needs to be reflected that way. Yeah. And I do believe there was a way to improve that in terms of those kinds of basics. So, yeah. You know what is interesting about that whole story? 6 years ago is when that bill to remove gender identity from the Civil Rights Code had been introduced by Representative Fisher.
Okay.
Okay, Representative Dane Fisher introduced it.
And 6 years would have been predated you.
Yes.
Okay,
predate
interesting.
me.
So he was working on this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Oh, yeah. Every year, doesn't get a sub, not assigned, ignored. And
So the party kind of just mothballs him because he's doing these unpopular things, unpopular with at least whoever the
this
powers
is
that
something
be
like,
are.
to touch this is to create chaos for really any party. These kinds of social issues, they're very, very contentious, and they're people take them very personally, because they feel like it's a direct attack on them. When we are just discussing ideas, okay? And I don't want anybody to feel personally attacked because we say that boys are boys and girls are girls, So anyway, so Representative Fisher introduced that bill well before this, and the chair of that committee would never give it a sub.
And what does a sub mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so a subcommittee means that's the very beginning of the process.
Okay, so you want a new, either a change to be made to existing law or a new law to be passed. It has to go to a subcommittee. That's where it all begins.
Yes, and whoever the party is in majority will have two of their members, so two Republicans right now, on that subcommittee and one Democrat.
Okay.
They take the bill. This is where all your viewers, everybody can come to that subcommittee and give input.
Yeah, I can do that, right?
Absolutely.
Anybody can show up at the Capitol.
Absolutely.
I think I was there with Mark Cisneros the other day, and he was like, "Hey, just come into here and you can listen to us debate this live." And I'm like, "We can just do that?" Like, he's like, "Yes, I wish everyone would do that." Yeah.
Yep. And you should.
Yeah.
Because and not only that, but you can always do comments online. You can always reach out to your representative.
You guys actually read those comments?
Yeah, actually, we do. Yep.
I love that. Yeah.
And
Iowa's just not that big of a place. Like, we can actually affect our government here.
Oh, 100%.
I just love that.
100% you can. And representatives always prioritize those from their district first.
As
because
they
these
should.
are the people that elected them. These are the people they are directly representing. Not that we aren't representing all of Iowa at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's those people that they especially pay close attention to. So come to a subcommittee because they're very, very important. So it never would get assigned a sub. It has to, the bill may be live, it may be introduced, but if it never starts the process, it's always dead.
What's so frustrating is like, I'm of conservative political views, but especially social issues. Like, we just think that like, well, our Republicans support these social issues. They're part of the platform. We have our planks that we put in caucus and all that. And like, well, shouldn't we like at least give it a hearing in a subcommittee?
Yeah.
But it was this guy just couldn't get it even to that level.
No. So, and this is a wonderful warrior that I highly, highly respect. Okay. And Representative Stephen Holt.
Stephen Holt. Okay.
He's fantastic. But he wouldn't give it a sub. And let's just go right to the end of the story.
Okay.
Because 3 years after I got elected, he was the one that championed that across the finish line.
Interesting. Okay. So,
and he did an incredible job.
The beginning of the story, he maybe looked kind of like a bad guy, but by the end, he was the hero that... Interesting.
Yes.
So interesting.
So he...
That's just how things play.
Things change.
That's why we have a legislator, right? Like a legislature where we can hash these issues out.
Yeah. So he did a fantastic job, and we got a lot of grief for it, of course. A lot of really kind of just loud rallies in the Capitol.
Yeah.
People can come protest inside the Capitol.
I remember seeing the TV footage.
Yes,
they were packed in there, right? And the pink hair and the screaming and the...
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Mandy Shivers has a great story about that. I think she told it on here anyway. It's just...
this topic reminds me of a couple that I want to bring up. And that is a lot of people on the ground are talking about chemtrails. Spraying, things going on in the sky.
Yeah.
Right? That bill has been introduced in the past. Didn't get a sub. This year we actually passed it out of the House.
Okay.
And so it takes
And can
always...
you just to tell what it is? Like, so, I mean, a lot of people still think that, chemtrails are just a total conspiracy theory and, like, it's just the exhaust from planes. But, like, now it's well known that they're spraying stuff into the atmosphere for manipulating weather or causing rain or whatever, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's, like, nobody debates that anymore. So just tell us what the bill was designed to do and how it was going to protect Iowa. And, I mean, we're farmers here. We need our land. So we need to know what's falling on the land from the sky.
It's a really short bill. It's really basic. It just bans aerosol spraying in the skies for the purpose of cloud seeding, geoengineering, weather type stuff. Of course, it does not include, the spraying that you do for agricultural, things like that,
right.
Pesticides, fungicides, whatever. And so, it's not really, if people think that's conspiratorial, we all know that, they did cloud seeding for the Olympics. We're well aware.
One of the stories is well known that the city of Moscow has saved millions and millions of dollars a year by making the snow fall outside the city because they don't have to pay as much for snowplows. Like,
there you go.
It's just so it's well known that we can do this. I know, like, it still has, some of that stigma on it. But anyway.
Well, I bring that one up because that's kind of a topic that a lot of Republicans are like, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
It's not safe. Just like gender identity was.
Yeah.
And a couple of the other topics that a lot of Republicans are hesitant. And when I say, I don't mean on the ground Republicans. I'm talking about those that have been at the Capitol for a while. They only want to kind of talk about the budget.
Yeah, respectable
property
things.
Taxes, right? Like stuff that, they
not
don't
these
want to
dirty social issues that we all have to deal with.
Right. The cultural wars.
Yeah.
That they don't want to touch because they create a lot of chaos. And so a couple of those other ones now that you're hearing people talk about is the cancer rate.
Yeah.
Water quality.
Right.
Pesticides. I mean, like, that is, honestly, as a Republican, it is somewhat dangerous to start having that conversation because it makes you look like you're anti-ag.
Yeah,
or anti-agriculture in general.
The water quality issue is like one of my brother-in-law, a guy I've known since I was a little kid. He lives on a little hobby farm he's married to my sister now, up in Central City. And his uncle is 50 years in Department of Natural Resources or Conservation or something like that. And I just remember Joey, my brother-in-law, always talking about how his uncle would tell us, like, well, Iowa's got some of the most polluted water in the country. And this guy who's his uncle is this far left, totally, like, opposite side of the political spectrum from me. But, I don't know what is actually true about our water, but, like, that's something that we certainly all can agree on, is that we need our water to be pure.
Absolutely. And this is a conversation where, on one hand, we have come a long ways. It is true. From the 80s and 90s, from when you were born, we have come a long ways. At the same time, we have a long ways to go. So when we talk about cancer, even...
Yeah. Tell us about that. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we just had a report by the University of Iowa. The legislature appropriated $1 million to them last year to do a study.
Okay.
And cancer, I think we need to preface this with knowing that I wish it were a simple conversation. Okay?
None of this stuff
like gender
is.
identity is like, okay, that's simple. That's just like, okay, we're done talking about it now, right? Life, okay, yeah, save the babies. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You got to value life. Okay, we're done. Let's go on. Like,
it's in the Declaration of Independence.
Exactly.
Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Right, right.
Yeah.
The cancer in the water is a much more, I don't mean cancer in the water. Let me preface that. Like, cancer conversations and water quality are a complicated conversation.
Yep.
Because cancer itself has many, many forms that it can appear. We all know that like cancer is pretty much in your body anyway. Like your body is always fighting these extra cells.
Okay.
And the different types of cancers, who actually is diagnosed with them, where, when, how, like there's so many variables to this conversation, okay?
Yeah.
But let me tell you a little bit about the report that we just got.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
The difficult part about it is only looked at two factors.
Okay.
When I say variables, right? what is causing the cancer in Iowa? And see, even as I talk about this, I'm like, gosh, I know nobody wants to have this conversation.
Yeah, but we just got to have it, and let's
Yeah.
just we'll give you some grace in that you're working through it and it's on our minds in Iowa.
I agree.
We hear more about this every day, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's because people are dying. More people.
Yeah.
It seems like to me, more people that I know have cancer every day, and
I know.
so, all right, let's. The first thing, if we're going to get a solution, is we got to be able to talk through the issues.
Exactly.
We might not get it all right the first time,
Yep.
but we're going to get there.
Let's put everything on the table. Let's have the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's not run from it like we did with gender identity.
Yeah, let's not run from it.
And
Yeah.
let's not be...
we got to save lives here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not be like some people that I know who do say glyphosate does not cause cancer.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I ain't going there. I'm leaving everything on the table.
Yeah.
As a
'Cause
Republican,
if it does,
as
it
a leader,
does. Yeah.
everything stays on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this report only looked at 2 factors.
Okay.
It looked at behavioral,
Okay.
okay? How you live your life. that
Am I a
causes
smoker?
you.
Am I
Exactly.
a drinker? Am I a...
Do you smoke?
Okay.
Do you drink? Do you live in a house that has radon?
Okay.
Those are the top 3. Because the top cancer in Iowa is lung cancer,
Okay.
okay? And is especially exasperated by smoking and drinking together combination.
Okay.
So if anything, quit smoking, quit drinking, and exercise, get out in the sun. Right there, you're your life is so much better.
Yeah.
It's very simple in that regards. But how those things affect you too and what you eat determines too if you actually struggle with that.
Right.
So anyway, behavioral stuff. And then also demographics. Okay. What age are those people? What gender are those people? Where do they live? Okay. Now, some studies have shown that those in rural areas actually have less cancer than those in urban.
Okay.
Depending on the cancer.
Which, if we're going to, for example, blame glyphosate, it
Exactly.
would make more sense that the rural areas would have
Exactly.
higher rates. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
But they did not examine environmental. Okay.
Yep.
Not at all. Off the table.
Yeah.
And of course, they did say, well, the next study, when you award us $1 million, we'll do it then.
Yeah. We
Like,
cross our
what?
heart and hope to die. Yeah. Just give us another $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. There have been, as a matter of fact, Representative Jeff Shipley. I share Jefferson County with him.
Okay.
He's actually doing a research project.
Oh, really?
Right now, where people can get involved in they give samples to this research company, and they will determine what kinds of exposure you have had to different types of chemicals.
Okay.
And I was just talking to him about it last night before I left the Capitol. And I'm going to participate in it.
Okay.
You have to pay a little nominal fee to do so because it's not funded by, some corporation or pharmaceutical industry or anything.
Well, that's what
This
we're kind of
is
finding out is
his-
if we want this stuff done, we kind of have to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love for the government to take up the torch and do it, but it just seems like that's not working.
Well, this is his own project that he's doing, and he's working with a local researcher out of Fairfield.
Good for him.
And
We love you,
so if
Jeff. Good job.
I know. I think it's really cool because
Jeff Shipley from
Yes.
Jefferson County?
he represents part of Jefferson County with me. He's actually from Henry.
Okay.
He lives in Mount Pleasant.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah.
And he's actually one of the reasons why the chemtrail bill got pushed too.
Okay.
And so Fairfield, Jefferson County, they're a group of people that they're paying attention. Like that county actually has the least amount of cancer reports in the state of Iowa.
Really?
Okay.
Interesting.
As a matter of fact, when you compare all the states and their rates, they're lower than the lowest state. Jefferson County. Okay.
Which
Fairfield.
is in Iowa that as a state has
Exactly.
either the highest or nearly the highest.
So
Interesting.
when I go down to forums down there, I got a forum tomorrow there, and I'm going to continue to tell them that. And I'm going to say, now you guys need to tell me why. What are you doing
Yeah.
that results in that? What are you not doing?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so anyway, these conversations have to be had by Republicans because I think if we turn away from them, our party is going to pay for it.
Yeah.
We don't need to be afraid of having the hard
We have to
conversations.
be right now we do have the moral high ground on the issues of liberty and things like that, but now we're being confronted with
Exactly.
are we
Yep.
this is so frustrating to me that I don't know where it is, but this bill I've heard about that people are trying to push where you know how the vaccine companies have liability protection in the law. Like, well, people allegedly are trying to do that with the pesticides and that in ag. And I'm like, if we need to pass a law to take away people's liability for like causing death from certain products, we're going down the wrong path. Like that just, I understand we need innovation. We need to be the leaders in the world in technology and all of that. But if your product is so good, you need to have the courage to stand behind it and not go begging the legislature or someone else for protection just in case you accidentally killed like tens of thousands of people. I mean, that's just not acceptable. And we have to that's an issue of liberty and life, you know. Like the purpose of government is to secure those rights.
That's right.
And we just cannot surrender that ground in the name of, you know, really good causes. Like we do need good we need our farmers to thrive in Iowa. Like we're a farm state. That's who we are. But we just
you're talking about the pesticide bill that will not probably move this year at all because of what Trump did regarding the executive order.
Yeah, because he protected glyphosate. Yeah. But they were going to push that hard.
The problem with the bill we had in Iowa, though, do you realize that it covered all pesticides? It wasn't just glyphosate, everything. And so,
which is like totally the personality of like a business that's writing a bill. Like, well, how can I do to the best maximize my liability protection? Talk to your lawyer. Oh, well, let's just write it so that it protects us from everything.
Yeah. And that is a constitutional issue because it also takes away your right to confront that, your right to a jury, your right to. So we have a lot of lawsuits in existence for people who leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and some of these are farmers and some of them aren't farmers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't have to live actually in a rural area or even on a farm to be exposed to a lot of these products because again, there are 300,000 wells, private wells in Iowa. Did you know that?
No.
So when people talk about water quality, we cannot forget the 300,000 private wells that people are drinking out of.
Yeah. Right.
They can have those wells tested. They don't have to wait for any law to get passed.
Yeah. My brother just did this, actually.
Okay.
And he gave a test to me for my house because I think this is a homeowners association, but we have a community well, and I tested it, and I didn't really know how to read the test, to be honest, but it said it was all healthy.
Really? Okay. Yeah, because they give all those little incremental things, like it needs to be less than this milli, whatever, and like you have to kind of know what that means, but if it came back like it's safe to drink, whoever is analyzing that and evaluating and telling you that, is somebody doing that?
Yeah, it was sent off to a lab.
Okay.
And you know what? Now that I think about it, I did not test the straight well water. I tested my reverse osmosis water, which that better be safe, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't do the true test, I should say. Yeah,
you need just the well water before it goes through. And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because everybody should have a reverse osmosis under their sink. Yeah. Everybody. Just do it. I don't care if it's city water, rural water, no matter what, you should do that because there's fluoride, there's all kinds of other things. City departments are treating their water with a lot of other things. And so you always should be drinking filtered water. And not just filtered, but reverse osmosis and what's the other thing that you
I don't know. We need healthy water. I know that.
I'll think of it, but reverse osmosis is the best way to treat to water.
Very
good. It takes out almost like 99.9% of any foreign things.
Okay.
So I always recommend people to do that.
Yeah.
And because what you put in here is really going to matter on how well you can fight off cancer and everything. So that's kind of something I want to do looking forward in my political field here is have those hard conversations. I'm willing to talk about them and hear people's stories and see if we can come up with solutions because the cancer report that we had, in a lot of ways, it didn't really tell us anything we didn't already know.
Yeah, who doesn't know that drinking and smoking causes cancer? Like that's not preventing us from doing those things already.
And you know something else that was shared in that I think I'd like to repeat was the fact that they said the higher incidence of breast cancer among women, what do you think it occurs in? Rural or urban? You tell me.
Urban.
You're right. And why?
I don't know. I just figured urban, you don't get as clean an air. And I mean, I have this idea that country living's healthy living.
Nope. Because urban women tend to be more career-focused, career-minded.
Oh.
And they'll start their families later because they're doing all their education.
Yep.
They have children at a later age in life, like in their 30s. Mm-hmm. And those people that wait to have children end up with breast cancer at a more higher level. Okay?
Really?
Yeah, they know that. That is not to be debated. If you wait to have children until you're older,
You are
more
higher
likely
probability
to get
Wow.
breast cancer. Isn't that amazing?
Well, and we need our population collapse is a major problem facing the world, including the United States right now. And so, please,
So, in that regard, we could talk about education because in our schools, all our schools are seeing a decline in enrollment because Iowa. It's not just people the brain drain. Everybody leaving Iowa, which is sort of true, sort of not true, depending on how you look at it. But it's also the fact that we're not even at the birth rate's not even 2 anymore. It's like. I'm not sure what we're down to, 1.7 or something like that.
Yeah, and just so people know,
we're just not having babies.
You're talking about births per woman, right?
Yes.
And the replacement rate,
Yes,
if I have my statistics right, if I remember correctly, I think it's 2.2 births per woman across a whole population will maintain a population.
That's right. Yeah.
The directive that God gave Adam and Eve was be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. We haven't quite filled the earth yet, so don't listen to this guy. That's I think he just died. Actually, I saw on my Twitter feed the other day the guy who coined the term the population bomb and scared everybody half to death and told us we shouldn't have kids and everything. He's passed away.
We're overpopulated, or are we having a population decline?
Yeah.
When you hear any number under 2, that is a population in decline, which is most of the world. Actually, not all.
Yeah.
Some countries are. What they're doing is they're incentivizing families. Yeah. So what do? You do tax incentives, you do these perks and benefits and things like that. You help women to stay at home.
Yeah.
So that they can, take that one window they have to raise their children. You only get to do this once.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have regrets.
Yeah.
Okay? Mom, just make the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Stay at home with that 3-year-old, that 4-year-old. And then if you have to send them to school or you can do a lifestyle, exciting change and engage in a high way of like actually homeschooling them or connecting, being very connected in their education, whatever that is. I am a homeschool mom, 25 years out. And some people don't like that because they feel like, well, if you're for homeschooling and you're for private schools, then you're against public schools. And that is so not true.
No.
Okay, I do nothing on education committee. I'm on the education committee, and I've done nothing this year but pass bills that all have to do with public education. Okay, nothing. We have not talked about one homeschool bill, one ESA bill, anything like that. We've talked about behavioral issues in the classroom. We've talked about, last year I passed the chronic absenteeism bill. We've talked about whether or not we should make schools have a family week. Like this is a real thing. The demand for sports that is put on children today.
Yeah.
I would argue it weakens the family structure.
It's consuming, yeah.
And that's been kind of one of my goals is not one of my goals. One of my priorities is always what can I do to strengthen the family? Yeah. And what does that mean and what does that look like? Because if you don't have strong families, you don't have strong communities, you don't have strong schools.
Well, and that's a path forward in my mind for public education in Iowa right now, I view it as in a state of disaster. Johnson County, I'm on the Johnson County Central Committee, and we just, have this big scandal going on in Johnson County right now where I guess they are so poorly mismanaging their money that they had to raid the employee HSA funds for $10 million just to make payroll for getting by, and now they still don't have everything in order, so they got to bring in outside consultants, and it's like, that's just a financial issue. But what about, getting back to the trans issue and things like that? I know a woman at my church who was, I've told this story on the podcast before, but she was a teacher in Iowa City, and the Iowa City, whoever was in charge of that school, told her, because she had, basically she had earned the trust of the family. She's 10-year veteran in the classroom, in the trenches, like just doing really, really good work. Well, she was going to be the one who's going to introduce the trans, drag queen to these little kids and start imposing like just confusion and perversion onto these children. And so anyway, like I know every school district's not that like that, and but the thing is, what we need is school districts that can humble themselves and take their proper place of serving the God-given authority of parents to build up the next generation. And in that context, I mean, I suppose you ought to, you're the one who's on the education committee and you're in charge of this stuff. But like, with that attitude, we can have a partnership with our school districts that's really healthy and good, and we can go a lot of places with that.
Exactly. And one of the things I think you're hitting upon is we don't do things that erode parental rights and erode families. And we have done that in education policy in the past.
Yeah.
So I think you're talking about, are you talking about Cedar Rapids? The school district in Cedar Rapids? No,
Iowa City.
Iowa City.
Yeah, Johnson County's Iowa City. Yep.
Cedar Rapids is struggling with...
they got a big problem too.
Yeah. And part of that, again, we got to go back to 2020 and all that influx of COVID money. Okay. They were living off of money that was going to stop. And it stopped. Yeah. And now they're going, oh dear. We also know this. When population rates go down, that means enrollment in schools go down. Well, that means funding in schools go down because funding's tied to enrollment.
Yep.
While administration is going like this.
Yeah.
And if I could show you the chart, you'd be like, wow.
Oh, I've seen them. What are all these administrators doing? Like, I mean, and whenever we hear about it, and the left talking about funding schools and everything, they always talk about funding teachers. Well, actually, this funding for teachers isn't even going to teachers, it's going to administrators. Like, what we need is empowered teachers who have the call of God on their lives and the commitment we need to empower them and actually, give them authority in the classroom, give them ability to enforce discipline and actually educate.
And that's exactly the bill we passed this week out of the House. It was a discipline bill that empowers the teachers to, if they have to say, no, little Johnny, throwing that desk across the classroom is unacceptable, and you have to leave the classroom, and you can't come back until I talk to the administrator and we work something out.
Yeah.
And they haven't been able to do that. Teachers have been coming to us for several sessions now saying, my classroom's out of control. Like, I can't discipline my students. I send them to the principal, and they come back 10 minutes later, and then we have to do these classroom clears, and we've got all the kids cowering in the corner, and it's so disruptive. And so,
what does it show? It shows that the most chaotic, the biggest bully, the biggest attention seeker runs the show in that classroom. Because all he has to do is throw a big fit, and now he's the center of attention. He gets to get whatever he wants out of it.
And it hurts the many, right? Why we're trying to cater to the few. And so we just actually did that bill. We had great support from it across the board. Even like the teachers unions and stuff. They recognize this is a problem. They know it. So when you say empower teachers, we are doing that while supporting public schools, because this is about public schools.
Yeah.
93%, 94%, it's maybe even higher, of our children in Iowa go to public schools.
Yeah.
So I would be foolish to not fight for public schools.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be ridiculous. And so I say that because, I have a 3-way primary.
Yeah.
And in that 3-way primary, I have a school board member opposing me.
Yep.
And of course, I'm anti-public school is the narrative. And I just go, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's all I spend my time on is how do we improve public schools?
Yeah.
And of course,
go be a school board member and clean up the school, because we need the school to function.
Yeah. You have local control.
Yeah, let's go.
We keep pushing down local control. Yeah,
get to work.
You want to do this, go do it and make things better. You can do that.
Yeah.
And the funding, we're always underfunding public education. If we'll go through the numbers if you want, but
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm between me and my church, we have a group of people that founded a school called Empower Iowa, and we're just being creative right now and doing a lot of different things. It's like we're talking about 5 students, so it's not like it's basically a glorified homeschool co-op at this point. But what we're able to do the quality of what, I mean, these kids are thriving. And you know what they get to do a lot of the time is stuff that looks a lot like playing, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're like creating an environment where these kids are thriving. We're being as creative as we can within the guidelines of the law, which we could do more with more freedom. And our cost per student is way lower than the public schools. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm a business guy. I've worked a lot of projects in my life and seen a lot of things where adding more money to the wrong team does not help the problem. It actually makes it worse. So we got to clean up our team on the public education side, in my opinion. So like get out and get the right people into your school board, get the right teachers hired, figure out people who know how to run these things where like it doesn't. The people who are out front are the teachers. Like the administrators support the teachers, and the teachers support the parents. Like, I mean, we got to do this as a team. We got to align behind what God's purposes and vision are for the training up of the next generation, which is like you were mentioning earlier, like parents do need to be in the driver's seat. That's an issue.
They do. It is on them. It is their responsibility.
Yeah.
Whether their child is homeschooled and they do it every day, or they go to private school, or they do a co-op, or they go to public school full-time.
Yeah.
It is on them to ensure that child is successful at that, getting all their needs met in whatever fashion they choose.
Yeah.
That is parental choice in education.
Yeah.
What is the best way for your child? And that changes as they get older too.
Yes.
As factors change in our own personal lives and things. So, at ESAs, we should touch on ESAs, right? They're not vouchers. They are educational savings accounts, and they allow parental choice for your education. The state will fund now every student $8,000, right at $8,000.
Yeah, $7,900
from the state fund that is coming from income taxes and sales taxes, where most of the state revenue comes from, to your child for your education.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't have
amazing.
that growing up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I gotta say. Or you have nothing to do with it. A lot of homeschoolers are like, I ain't gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole. They want no government thing. We will always protect what we call independent private instruction, IPI, for homeschoolers. You want to be completely on your own. You have every constitutional right to do so.
Yeah.
Those children are your responsibility again, 100%. It's not even a right. I'd like to challenge people a little bit like, I have parental rights. No, actually, you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like
you have both a right and a responsibility.
Rights can be taken away, right? It's fully yours.
Yeah.
And so rise up to the occasion. Rise up.
Yeah.
You will make or break your child and make them the absolute best that they can be. And wow, you won't regret it.
Yeah.
No regrets again.
Absolutely. Can you just give some advice to parents? Like, you've heard a lot of these stories from teachers just dealing with chaotic classrooms. And like, I mean, I'm a homeschool kid, so like I totally support the homeschool. And we were the type of homeschool family that we didn't do the local co-op. We didn't do anything. Because we were the people that said, we're not letting the government touch us. Because like, if you let the government in that much, they might take a mile. So we guarded that. And I honestly, there's a lot of me that says like, that's the best case scenario. But like you said, we're talking about 93, 94% of the kids in Iowa that are public educated. And like, we can complain about that philosophically as homeschoolers if we want to, but I think the right thing to do, at least part of the solution, is like we need to maximize the quality that they're getting. So what can parents do to support a healthy classroom? If you're a parent sending your kid to class, like, I mean, what do the parents need to be doing?
Yeah. That's a really good question because again, it's on them. Even if they're sending them to whichever school and they're there, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're the ones that need to make sure everything's going good. So again, I would say it's always about communication. So much is just about communication. What is your child doing? How are they doing? Where are the gaps? And then with the teachers, what are they struggling with? What are they succeeding at? And how those two are coming together.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, the whole classroom thing, knowing what is actually going on in the classroom. Now, this is difficult because, I mean, some classes have, 20, 25, 27?
Yeah.
It just varies a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Think
How
about
many
the
students are
ratio.
there?
Think if you're an adult sitting in a room with 25 kids. You have no ability to control them if there's misbehavior going on.
And honestly, they do struggle with because especially these larger cities, because you tend to attract more families that are unstable. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just our culture has degraded in such a way that we have not valued marriage. We have not valued the long-term commitment to raising children together.
Yeah.
And so now we've
abandoned
dysfunction.
home. Yeah.
We have. And that is reflected in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so your child may be coming from that stable home and two-parent family, which is ideal. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just make sure we understand this is
We're
ideal.
cheering for that. Absolutely.
When we get a lot of pushback on that at the Capitol, but that's ideal. And so they may have all the good scenario, but there's 5, 6, 8, 10 kids in their class that it is true. They may go home and they may see abuse. They may see drug use. They may see sexual, like bad stuff. And and what is your response as a parent to what your child is going to have to endure? We know that children are resilient, right? Yeah. We know that.
Praise God for that.
Incredibly resilient, yes. And they also have a really an amazing discernment and sixth sense about things, and they know within themselves what is oftentimes like when they're watching other children and their responses to behavioral issues. And, we got a lot of special ed stuff going on. We've got IEPs, 504 plans. I mean, school mental health stuff. I mean, schools are just dealing with things that they were not dealing with even 10 15 years ago. Yeah. So just, again, it's always about communication, I would feel, with your child, with your school, with your teacher. But that takes work.
Yeah.
And it takes a good teacher too, because they got to do that with 25 different parents.
Yeah, we got to have all parties need to be engaged and involved in this.
So just engagement.
Going
it's
home
just
and giving your kid the tablet and turning on the TV is not like a wise solution.
Well, and then for the most part, they don't even do homework. Yeah. They don't send homework anymore.
Really?
Anyway, they don't. Maybe you can find some schools that do, but across the board, they don't. Some schools are actually pulling away from the one-on-one tablets now.
Really?
Okay? I have a school district in my area that is taking that all the way out of this up to 6th grade.
Huh. Yeah.
Because they realize, that is not actually working very good with their brains. It's not. They're not developing the neuron connections that they need. They're not developing the relational stuff they need. The coordination of hand-eye coordination stuff, they are lacking in a lot of ways. Yeah. So that obviously there's a use. We're having conversations a lot about AI.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
I'm not even sure how we begin that one, but, there's a place for that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We all would agree that AI has made our lives easier, better. We can do a lot with it,
well,
but it's also very dangerous.
In our workplace, right now, the workplace is being taken by storm by AI right now, especially things like jobs
you're losing
software developers. Well, we're not losing anything. What we kind of as an organization have to look at it as either an opportunity or a threat. It's like anything. We have to face the future as an employer and a small business with courage, in that we're going to go at AI as it's very powerful, and it's capable of amplifying whatever we want to amplify. So if we're an employer and we say, let's figure out how to cut our workforce, and we're going to make more profit and things like that. Well, we may actually be a more profitable company by doing that, because AI is incredibly powerful. But what we're finding is we're creating a team of people who are being encouraged to learn to use AI. And so now people that, as an example, somebody who has only 10% knowledge base on how to write software can use some of these tools to bridge that maybe 80% of that gap and write an amazing thing that can create organization for a team, automate somebody else's job. And so automating a job, the choice as a company is we can either remove headcount, or we can look at how great this thing was that this guy created and say, now there's a bigger pool for everybody. We can grow more, and we can do more with less. So our jobs are higher quality, higher paying, everything like that. So anyway, all that to say is just AI for us as a company could be a threat or could be an opportunity. In a lot of ways, it's both. And the key is, first of all, to not respond in fear, to respond with courage and say, okay, this is a tool that God gave us for good, and we must, with a fierce determination, take the opportunity and make it for good. Make it serve people. You know?
You use the word fear there, and I want to point something out that there is a lot of fear about AI.
Oh, yeah.
And what it's going to do to the human race, right? And this is the point I want to make on it. And I think it's very important because when something is scarce, scarcity creates value, okay? What will become valuable, I believe, as technology keeps improving and we get more of this, is what we're doing here, the actual human interaction and conversation and connection. That will actually become what's more valuable. We're seeing this in young people now. The young generation, they're taking those phones and they're like, okay, this is crap. I'm gonna actually like live life. I'm gonna talk to people. I don't want to live like that. They understand. Our younger generation actually understands. And they've grown up in this.
Yeah.
And they're the ones going, I don't like this. This isn't healthy.
It's terrible. Yeah.
So I just want to give people hope in this because I don't think we have to be afraid. We know who creates fear in us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. No, do not fear.
Yep.
God has created us in such a way.
The most repeated command in the Bible.
Exactly.
Do not fear.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I've got grandchildren and my daughter looks at them and I know she goes like, what's the world going to be for them in 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
Are we just going to be driving around in flying cars and have a robot cleaning the house? You kind of do already with that little robot thing on the carpet, right?
Yeah,
but,
Roomba.
Like literally like have people walking around that are robots or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I know who holds the future.
Yeah.
But do not fear, because what will be more valuable and what is already becoming more valuable is all the essence of the human traits that God has put in us. And I just think that's going to reign. I just think he's just going to...
We are going to have some opportunity.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Like it is going to create a place of... It's going to create good things, actually.
Yeah.
And so be hopeful.
I think you're spot on about that. It's like what all this technology is capable of doing is amplifying what's in the human heart. So yes, there will be wickedness, and we've always had that.
That is true.
But we who are the people of God are going to have more at our fingertips than we've ever had before to spread the gospel, to spread prosperity, to spread goodness, to spread kindness and gentleness and love and all of those fruits of the Holy Spirit that He puts it in us. There is nothing else in the world that creates all of those things that make life worth living except a child of God. So we are the way I see it, are being given increasingly tools in the form of technology and all this other stuff that allow us to just do something good in the world. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody with more power than a faithful servant of God,
That's right. Yep. It's a tool in the toolbox. It's okay.
And so one of the things we talk about a lot on this is like, well, because of so much changing in the world, and there's a look at what's happening, what is the role of government philosophically?
Mm-hmm.
Like how do we run government?
Yeah. Well, we know what Scripture says about that.
Tell us.
We do good and we oppose evil. Mm-hmm. Those two very words, we use government to correct evil, what I'm seeing when it comes to, I wish it were simpler because it can be used, we know that the whole system of how America is built, our constitutional, anytime I say constitution, who I think of course, is governor candidate Brad Sherman. Mm-hmm. And he loves to talk about the Constitution.
He's such a strong guy in the Constitution. Yeah.
Yes. And then when I think about like topics that people don't want to talk about, I think of Zach Lane.
Yeah.
Because he wants to go to, okay, you know what? Let's talk about cancer. Let's talk about water.
Right.
But yeah, the role of government, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, protect your rights that have been given to you, not from government, but from God. Mm-hmm. And I do like to remind people that, that definition of pursuit of happiness, has been kind of, I would say, hijacked.
Yeah.
For many decades. And originally, it actually meant property. Okay.
I remember reading in my homeschool education that there was a debate in the wording of the Declaration where they almost wrote property.
Yes, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's true. And if you go look even further, part of that struggle was the fact that back then, people of color were considered property. And so the fact that they wanted to include that, like they're going, ooh,
That wasn't right, yeah.
written in our Declaration of Independence, the original document, if you could go see that, was an objection to slavery. It was in there, and it got
all
removed.
men are created equal, actually.
It did get removed, but no. So they didn't phrase it that way because they did not want to say, yes, that's okay. Like that's not a God-given right that you can own other people. The freeness of who we are is obviously an American liberty that comes through. But property rights in general is kind of foreign to a lot of countries.
Yeah.
Who,
one of the interesting things about America is like we have this term in modern language, landlord, right? And what landlord comes from is the old European idea that someone is the lord of the land. And what that term meant is he's the lord because he has the God-given right to this land. And that was one of the things about the United States that was so amazing to these Europeans that moved here, like Irish immigrants, like my ancestors, like you can be the lord of the land. It was all hereditary in Europe. There's no more land. There was no way to do it. But here you could get land, and you could be the lord of the land. We used to have, actually, I think it is still on the books in the laws, but you could get a land patent, which means nobody can tell you what to do with your land. Like you can do what you want with the water there. You can do what you want with the drainage and all this stuff. It's so just the investment of power in Americans as it pertains to land is part of our heritage. And we remember that in Iowa, right? Because we're kind of people of the soil here.
Less than 3% is actually publicly owned. Okay. Some states, think of the states out west. Utah, you got Grand Canyon, all those mountainous areas over there.
Yeah, Bureau of Land
Lots and
Management.
lots of land out there is owned by the government. In Iowa, 98.5 or something like that is privately owned. That is very, very important. This is why I actually want people to actually own a house.
Yes.
We're keep going towards the direction of always renting, rent. And there are times that's okay. That's good.
Sure.
We need to rent. We need to have that kind of stuff
Yeah.
available. I'm not objecting to it. But there's something to ownership.
Think about what it means to a community.
Exactly.
You're invested in that community.
Right. So those three things, life, liberty, property, are key to what I'm supposed to be doing for you. And even from the beginning, and when my beginning of my stepping into politics, it's always been strengthening families, protecting children, guarding your constitutional rights.
Yeah.
And those three. And I've been thinking about myself lately, like, okay, now I've been doing this 4 years now. Is that still who I am? Is that still changed? What's added to that? Has anything been different? And it hasn't. I've been, just asking myself, politics does change people. We all know that because we think of somebody like, well, he went in and he was conservative and then he came out and he's like,
yeah.
run off or whatever.
It's hard to, you go into Des Moines or, can't even imagine what it's like in Washington, D.C., but all of a sudden everybody's clawing at you, trying to get a piece of your attention or your vote or your whatever. It's just. Yeah.
You have to be willing to go in and die on a hill alone, right? For things that matter to you. And for me, those things are, again, strengthening families, protecting children, and guarding constitutional rights of those that I represent. And you cannot go wrong with that. Now, I've been having a lot of conversations this year, naturally, with my son going into the National Guard. He wants to be a Ranger, U.S. Army Ranger.
Oh, good for him.
Wants to do hard things.
Yeah. It's hard for a mom to.
It is very hard. Yeah. So military stuff, veterans. I'm on the Veterans Committee too.
Okay.
And we've spent a lot of time talking about VSOs, Veteran Service Officers, and compensation benefits and pension benefits, and how do we serve our veterans? How do we honor our veterans? How do we make things better for them? And all kinds of different ways.
Right.
And it's taken on a really new, intensive meaning to me now. Now I'm a daughter of a Vietnam vet. I'm a granddaughter of a World War II vet. It's always, those that have served our country you're wearing a flag right now on your hat. And that, when I see that that has meaning. That's, that like, now it's like, like it's really like, now I got skin in the game. Now it's my child that could be making that sacrifice. And that becomes a whole nother thing to a person who, it was before me in my time. Now it's going to be part of me for my son. And that it just like, I've been just sort of this heightened awareness now of our veterans, even more so than I was in the past. And I just cannot honor them enough. And I cannot say thank you enough to our veterans and those who serve our country. They give up a lot. And it is our duty, I believe, to take care of them and to offer them that kind of honor and respect for what they've done, because they do give up a lot. They give it up. So you got veterans that are your followers and your listeners. Thank you very much for serving our country.
Yeah. Thank you for that, because
yeah,
there's just no replacement for it, and it's a privilege and an honor to live in a nation where we have volunteers. Like we have our armed forces, our people who choose to serve, and that's not usually the case just across world history, especially in powerful, influential nations. Is like, so what we have to serve and have support the veterans, but we also have to like guard what they're doing in terms of like give them noble causes to fight for, and make sure that what they're doing is contending for life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, property, like these things that are who we are.
The reasons why people go into the National Guard service right now, my son's going in not because anybody asked him to, not because anybody told him to, because he wants to be there.
Yeah.
And you will find with National Guard members, they choose and they want to be there, and they have decided that they are willing to give. And
just everybody should take a minute and think about the difference it is to have a military like that, compared to ones that are there for a paycheck.
Yeah, and that exists in the world too,
big time.
And of course, that was Vietnam.
Those are mercenaries.
Yeah.
Or compulsion. I suppose you could compel people by drafting.
You
and
can.
all that,
The draft. Of course, we only did that twice in history. And I just hope we never have to deal with that again, because hopefully there are enough people that would rise up and say, I love my country. I want to protect my country. I will. Not that I'm, I don't, nobody wants war. War is always bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Absolutely.
We all know that.
Yeah.
But there are certain causes that do matter. They do matter in generations. And we wouldn't be where we are today. We would not have the freedoms we have right now if we did not have those that go before us.
Yeah.
And sacrifice.
Right. Yeah, so what about, it's just like, I know we don't really have much say in what happens. We're just Iowans, and we're talking about the Iowa government here, but just like Iran, what's like, you have any like wisdom to share with the people on like how to interpret what we're doing in Iran? And
you're getting way out of my league there.
Yeah.
Wow, that is, one thing I'm learning about being in politics now is that there's so much that happens that you don't know about and that you don't understand.
Yeah.
So when it comes to federal issues and things going on in the world, I'm very careful, because there's a lot that I may not know and I may not understand. And I'm quick to acknowledge that. There's just a lot of moving parts. It is complicated. That region goes back, I would say, decades, centuries, but we're talking
thousands of years.
And of course, that's an issue that I don't have to weigh in on directly as a state person. I do weigh in on immigration, United Nations. We had a bill to basically say anything that the United Nations passes, Iowa isn't following, because they kind of want to. This global thing kind of wants to.
That is so
press down into
what is that? Why do these people like? Go run your own country or something.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. Like,
yeah. No, there's a big push.
why do we even got to have a law like that? Get out of here, UN. Like,
exactly. WHO,
Yeah.
I've been to the border twice. I didn't have to go.
Down in Texas or Arizona, something like that. Okay.
Yep. Down in Brownsville, where they had, when I was down there, and I went freely, I'm not even on the committees that, I've always been interested in immigration, because even though we're far, far from the border,
Yeah.
right? I've always said that immigration is a state issue also because it does affect us. It affects our workforce. It affects our schools.
Yeah.
Okay? As kids are moving in and out of them because their families are... It affects our local economy. It affects our healthcare.
Well, especially with what we've been finding out like in recent months. So like, as it turns out, we have to pay for all these people that are. I mean, it'd be one thing if we're just like, we're all descendants of immigrants here. Like nobody's anti-immigration if you're American. But guess what? We have a certain limited capacity, and we got a lot of problems with our people that we need to take care of. And now we find out that like basically what was happening with Biden and its preceding administrations is like not only were they allowing people to come in, but they were just signing them up for taxpayer-funded healthcare, taxpayer-funded housing, taxpayer-funded food. Like, I mean, and think about somebody who's like that living in a community who's not allowed to work because they're an immigrant. So what are they doing? They're just taking from the community. And that's awful.
A lot of people that have come here in the last 5 or 10 years, since the Obama actually, he sent a lot of people out of the country. You'd be surprised. He actually was somewhat, a lot of people would argue he was somewhat hard on immigration. But
in comparison to Biden, he definitely was.
Yeah.
I mean, but all he's doing is the responsibility of the chief executive, which is the president, is to enforce the law.
Yes,
and
exactly.
The law is on the books. So, I mean, whether it was him or it wasn't him, I mean, I think Tom Homan worked for him, right? I think
I'm not sure.
Trump's border czar, I'm pretty sure, was working for the Obama administration. And, well, he just let him enforce the law, right? So, I mean, anyway, it's just silliness. But
every state is a border state. Mm-hmm. And so when I went down there, immigration's tough because we know that immigration can be used to change countries. Right? Mass migration type thing.
Yeah.
And so when people bring that up, you have to be able to say, okay, is that actually happening? Mm-hmm. Is that happening in our state? And you want to talk to somebody who can answer to that.
Yeah.
You talk to Representative Mark Thompson.
Yeah.
He lives in Wright County.
Okay.
And Wright County sees a lot of immigration issues.
Okay.
He has the stories of the 20 guys living in the garage with no bathroom, working at the local, big confinement thing.
Meat packing plant or something.
He has seen the girls. The stories of the girls at the grocery store in the back of the van who, so this stuff happens in rural Iowa.
Yeah.
It really does. Mm-hmm. And we know that Iowa is a state by which a lot of prostitution occurs, child trafficking with our highways and stuff.
We're a crossroads state. Like everything that happens comes through here. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So this is something that is a conversation that's hard to have, but Representative Thompson has been a champion for...
He's great. Yeah.
Yep,
Mark
child
Thompson,
trafficking.
He's fantastic.
All of that kind of stuff.
I just remember one story he told. Well, I can't remember when I was listening to him, but he was pointing out like, oh, hey, look at this. We got this great trafficking law passed, right? Like, so we can enforce this. And this, I'm sure. But like he was pointing out that I think it's the Department of Public Safety had 2 full-time people assigned to work on that. And 60 full-timers assigned to work on casinos. Like casinos? If anybody can afford their own security, it's a casino. Come on. Like, and so we shouldn't even laugh about it. It's just true, insanity because like these are people's lives. Like women and little boys too are just getting trafficked, sold for sex, just, the Book of Revelation. I was reading that today. It talks about the wicked world system and what it trafficked in is the bodies and souls of human beings. Well, guess what? That's happening in Iowa. And it is the government's responsibility, according to the Declaration of Independence and according to the Bible, to secure people's rights. The government is your servant to do you good, says the Bible.
That's right. Thank you for clarifying that. I don't think I hit that point.
Yeah.
And there is a pretty good argument that shows that there is more human trafficking. And I mean, like, not just sex trafficking, not child trafficking, but just human trafficking in general.
Yeah.
People in slavery occurring now
than ever before.
Yeah. Which is shocking for a lot of people to understand and to hear. But you think of, like, the immigrants that come to Iowa. They are indebted to the coyotes and the cartel.
Yep.
They get here. They don't
One of
know
my
who to
attorneys,
trust.
when I was being defended, she had worked for the Trump administration in his first term. One of my attorneys in Washington, D.C. defending me talked about she had worked on his something to do with the border, and she would talk about like a girl that was brought up here by the cartels would be raped multiple times, in debt $7,000 or more, with no way to pay for it. So now her only way to pay for it is to do whatever they say.
They really are entrapped.
Yeah.
And they're in a system that they can't get free from. They try to get back to their country, try to get out. I'm like, it is very, very difficult. So you just
It's evil.
you put them in a place of where they're stuck. Like, we'd like to think that these are like we're helping people, like they're starting new lives, they're coming here, opportunity. No, actually they're pretty much in bondage.
You are a participant in the buying and selling of human beings
Yep.
on the slave market.
Yeah, it's that, and that's happening in Iowa.
Yep.
So yeah, immigration. We should continue to still talk about that issue. Of course, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
Down at the border.
Yeah,
What is
right.
it? 99% reduction in
Yeah.
crossings. Unbelievable.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah. It's,
when-
what a relief. Yeah.
When I was down there, we looked across the Rio Grande River, and there was 3,000 Venezuelans camping out there. They'd been camping out there for a couple of months, waiting for the cartel to say, "Okay, tomorrow you're going to move. You're going to move to the bridge,
Wow.
and you're going to do the app, that says I'm going to come in on amnesty." And they had to. Border Patrol was under so much pressure. They had to let them all in, and then of course Catholic Charities, other NGOs
Yeah.
would take them
Evil.
and give
Evil.
them new
Yeah,
fresh clothes.
these nonprofits that
They really
allegedly
did do that.
I know.
really true.
Yeah, like people like you need if
Yeah.
you are pro left wing Democrat stance on immigration, you need to look into what is happening to these immigrants and
Yeah.
what was done to them, because
Yeah.
what you were participating in
It's
is the
true.
slave trade. And what do you think is more attractive for people who are evil and want to have domination over others than off the books humans in another country where they're not allowed to be? They're the most vulnerable. They're the most manipulatable. You can just hold over their head. Hey, we're going to report you to ICE if you don't do anything. What people need to be is in the nations where they reside. They need to be legally there so they can reside under the government that God instituted to do them good. It doesn't mean that the government will always fulfill God's purpose, but they need to be respectful of the laws that he's put in place and the authority structures that he's put in place. Otherwise, you just have chaos.
Well said. I'm telling you, that is well said. And we have a place for legal immigration here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but my
Yeah.
mom came to America when she was 8 years old.
Really? From where?
Well, her parents were taken out of Poland in 1939 when Hitler invaded Germany. They were put into work camps, and they both survived the war. But when they came out,
They were taken by the Nazis
they
and
were
put
taken
into
by the
work
Nazis,
camps. Wow.
put into the work camps, and this is my grandparents. And they built the bridges, they built the roads, for the Nazis, that kind of stuff. Not everybody went to concentration camps. When they invaded Poland, they were looking for workers, slaves,
Yeah, of
to do
course.
what they need.
Right. Yeah. As all
To build
wicked,
the structure,
wicked people do. Yeah.
the infrastructure they needed. And a lot of people don't think about it that way. They just think, oh, they took the Jews and they stuck them in the. No. There was plenty of other.
Yeah,
stuff
there was
going
plenty
on.
of whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Poland contributed a lot to the workforce of the building for infrastructure for Germany. So no, they worked the entirety of the war, and when the war was over, they were released. They did not go back to Poland because there was nothing there.
Where
There
were
was
they? Germany or?
They were in Germany,
Okay,
so
yep.
they settled in Germany, started a family, but within 10 years, they both died. Probably related to some of the hardships and
I'm
the
sure,
complications,
yeah.
and just what was going on in Germany. Like it was a hard time, and so
Yeah.
4 children
Yeah.
all go into the orphanage, get adopted out.
Oh. Yeah.
Some stayed, one stayed. Actually, that's where I get my name. Was a little sister that she had in Germany that stayed. I was adopted there.
Wow.
And 3 of them actually did come to America, and so she was 8.
Did you ever get to meet any of these
Actually,
relatives?
we have.
That's awesome.
She didn't know. The little sister didn't know she had been adopted. She didn't know she had any siblings. They never told her.
Wow.
She was 2. That was the youngest. My mom was 8, and then a 10-year-old, and then a let's see, he would have been like 6 or something.
Okay.
So yeah, when they pull him out, like they didn't do that kind of stuff. Like they just,
Sure.
they needed to find homes for these children. And
Well, and probably that times like 50,000. Like, I mean, it was, Germany at that time was probably just total chaos. Like,
oh yeah.
yeah.
It was shambles. And so she remembers some of those days in the orphanage and the courtyard that they would play in. And yeah, so when she came here, one of the things she remembers about going to school, and she went to Catholic school. The Catholics were actually really good about adopting a lot of these children.
Which is why organizations like Catholic Charities have a good reputation, because they used to do good work.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the children in her grade in her school that taught her English. You know, she didn't have an ESL teacher.
Yep. Yeah.
She just had to learn English by playing and talking.
I bet she learned just fine.
Yeah. People say she still has an accent. She's 74 now.
Oh, she's still here? That's
people
amazing.
are like, where are you from? Yeah. I'm American. I've been here since,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm technically a first generation child of a. She was naturalized by the time she was 12, or I think 11.
Sure.
And of course, same with my dad's side. 2 brothers came over from Germany on the boat. They went through Ellis Island. You know, but that was more the 1890s. And so, no, we all have those stories if we would take the time to look. We are a nation of immigrants. We are a melting pot. We know that.
Yeah.
But the beautiful part is we all abide by constitutional law. That's why we are a constitutional republic. And we get the same beautiful country.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're bound together by what me with Irish and a little bit of German and some other stuff in my background and your background, and like what we've come under the banner of is like the thing that united the states, right? The Declaration of Independence. We're the people who hold these things to be self-evident. We're all created equal. We're endowed by our Creator with the unalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We also hold it to be self-evident that the only reason governments exist is to secure those rights.
That's right.
And
secure the rights.
They derive their just powers from the consent of the governed.
I memorized that one as a child. I just wish I could remember it as we get older. Like those are things that we should internalize. Like we should just be able to spout those things off.
Yeah, they're in our blood.
They are.
Yeah.
I would just, as we get older, like the memory kind of goes, or maybe it was parenting. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I just wish, that everybody could just, just because you internalize that and you understand then what's lacking. What is lacking about things that happen like 2020 and something like that happens and you go, wait a minute, what's wrong with this scenario? What's the problem here? And
And we have always, as a nation, we're the people who signed that declaration that said, in support of this declaration and in the sight of God or in the sight of Providence, we mutually pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. So we're the people that want this to be enforced in our own land and across the world because we say it's self-evident. It's true for everybody. But that doesn't mean that you can just come here and take us over because we're a bunch of nice guys.
But we're Iowa nice, aren't we?
Well, we woke up since then, and we do. I want to be nice. I'm a kind person. I wish I could. And if I meet, even if it's an illegal immigrant, if I meet him on the street, I treat him with kindness. I love my neighbor as myself, like God says. Yeah. But I recognize that in order to have a healthy nation, a healthy community, there has to be order and God's laws have to be respected, and we have to have the capacity. We can't just impose on the generosity of other people because we, feel this compassion. Well, if you feel compassion for immigrants, go find a way to help them in their country. Because guess what? Somebody needs to rise up, and there needs to be a movement in Venezuela of people who hold it to be self-evident that they're all created equal and all those things, right? And that needs to happen in Africa, and that needs to happen all over Latin America and in Europe again. And it's got to be worldwide because we can't all just we don't have the power to impose that from America, and we don't have the right because even in our declaration it says the government derives its power coming from its people. So either the people come up and want this, or you're just not going to get it. So
yeah, that's a bill we did that we pushed. The House pushed a lot was a civics bill.
Oh, really?
Yes, into public schools to make sure that they're being taught this kind of stuff, and not you white nationalistic, racist
Yeah,
guy. You're intrinsically biased.
Yeah.
This idea that we hate America.
Yeah, come on.
We know that has this thought process has infiltrated our school system. We know that, okay?
Yeah.
Parents see that, they bring this stuff to us. So the civics curriculum, we did this bill, and we put it in law. Like, you have to teach these things. Like, you have to teach the Declaration of Independence. You have to teach the Bill of Rights. So then, that when you do that, you oftentimes give the ability for a state department, to then implement the rules on that.
Right.
So they went and they made the standards and all of that, and they come back and said, here we go.
The Department of Education in Des Moines.
Yes.
Yep.
The Department of Education made the standards, and they came back to us and were like, oh, wow, that's junk. It's junk.
Yeah.
Like, this is where the government is challenging, because we pass laws, and yet the departments then can sometimes either exceed what was there, or they don't fulfill what was
Well,
there.
I ran into this in Washington, D.C. Like, I mean...
yeah.
January 6th, like, I'm going through talking about, like, attorneys, when I'm going to trial, I'm, like, asking about, well, what about the Constitution? Can I ask for constitutional defense strategy?
I've heard you speak about that.
Yeah.
They said
that
doesn't apply here.
It doesn't apply in
Excuse
Washington.
me?
So the law is on the books, right? The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And the Constitution, by the way, is the implementation of the truths that we hold to be self-evident, right? That, we're all created equal, and, the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are the machinery of how we give to the government to implement them is called the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, those sorts of things. And there was just brazen disregard, like just contempt for the law and the people of the United States from the bench. The judges out in Washington, those courts just simply have no regard for the law, in particularly the Constitution.
So my question for you is, when are you going to run for office?
Not this cycle, but I'm going.
Really?
I will at some point. I don't know. I follow my God, and I'm like, Jesus says, if you want to lead, you start by serving. So right now I'm serving. I'm finding the people like you who are good legislators, good candidates in other offices, giving you guys a platform, building you up, serving like people like Jim Carlin and the Eddie Andrewses and the Brad Shermans and Mandy Shivers and Austin Stubbs and Bob Eshelman, these other people that have been on the podcast. Like, I'm just trying to
I saw that.
Build them up and give us a boost in Iowa. We need to hear from these really, we have a lot of really solid, good people that are contending for liberty and trying to fix things. And it's not an easy fight, and it's not a quick fight, but I think we're on the right track. We're headed in the right direction.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why I brought up the word earlier, a new kind of Republican, because I feel like since 2020, there has been this change in not really the party stance, the platform, right? We have a party platform, Republican Party platform, and I don't want to make this all about politics in terms of party stuff, but when I drill down to my foundation, right? Yeah, I've got scripture. On top of that is layered what you keep saying, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, all of that. Built upon that is the structure of our Republican platform. Okay, the foundation is biblical. Yeah, and I feel like the new breed of Republican is back on that, where it hasn't been for a while.
I'm really glad
that's
about
why people
that.
hate politics, because they're like, well, you say this, but you're doing this. What are you doing?
What we've been taken over by in sort of the conservative side of politics. We've tended to be taken over by the war lobby and by the big business.
On the federal level you're talking. I'm thinking on statewide.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just...
Federal is a whole nother beast.
I'm putting my, trying to give voice to an everyday, conservative in Iowa, and just growing up, and I remember the Bush years and the Obama years, and we were, there was a tendency in conservative politics to be like, yeah, let's go get them. Let's go, we got the best military in the world. Let's go blow them up. But also the other thing that we've tended to get taken over by is this fierce, which free markets are good, I believe, but we went from free markets to businesses should be able to do whatever they want. And we lost sight of the Declaration of Independence's principle that the government's job is to secure the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, we on the conservative side tend to think the only threat to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness comes from government, or maybe from foreign governments. But the reality is it can come from our education system. It can come from our businesses, like monopolies. Just think about like social media and like the monopoly they have on information. And if the government doesn't play referee there, like we can't communicate with each other. Or that we've talked about cancer and glyphosate and all that and pesticides and things like that. Well, if the government doesn't play referee there, like we're at risk of losing life and liberty. Same deal with like we haven't even gone into the COVID restrictions and the forced injections and all of that stuff. Like, well, a lot of the arguments around that were like, oh, well, it's just, the government has a mandate. A mandate isn't a law, and your employer is just compelling you to do it. And so there's these levers of power in society that are not all government, but they can all threaten our life, our liberty, and our pursuit of happiness, pursuit of property. And it 100%. Is the government's responsibility. So we as conservatives, I think what you're describing, have kind of recentered around like, oh, and look at who we got. Like in the Trump administration, at least, like RFK Jr., like this is the guy in my lifetime, the first one in charge of Department of not agriculture. What's he? Health and Human Services, and FDA and all that. Yeah, Make America. Like this is the first guy that I have felt like. Yeah. I think he actually cares about health.
Oh my gosh, he wants to talk about vaccines.
Yeah,
right. That is something that Republicans run from too. This vaccine debate.
Yeah, why? Like, come on, let's have the debate. Like, we're not just animals that, can be like used for profit. Like, I mean, that's how I think Big Pharma tends to see us sometimes. Like, what's the difference between Big Pharma and, a drug dealer? Sometimes I don't know.
There's a lot of money there.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical industry plays a very heavy role in pressuring people. And we see that on a state level a little bit too. We have other groups of types of people like that they carry a lot of weight. And so I'm going back to that new breed of Republican.
Yeah.
Okay? It's that person, and this is who I think you and I would agree we want to see coming into politics, is that person who is going to stand on virtue, going to stand on truth, and be willing to do it alone because you might have to.
You might have to.
Okay? And you won't sell out to your principles, even if you've been there 4 years, 6 years, 12 years. That you stay firm and steadfast in that. And I'm only 4 years in, so check me here. And like I got a primary to win first of all.
Yeah.
But check me again here, in in the near future, and just make sure, Helena, you're staying steadfast, right? Like you're holding to your core principles. Because it is a great pressure for sure. Yeah, it is. I don't think anybody would deny that, even on a state level, but on the federal level, I can't even imagine. Yeah, I can't even go there because there's so much that people don't understand about the state level that to then take that to the federal, for me, I'm going, wow. Like I'm a lot less sure now because that the phrase of walk a mile in somebody's shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I'm a lot. I just speak a lot slower in terms of like being critical. Yeah. Of even politicians who appear to be, they appear to be your moderate, your rhino, those kind of terms that we like. I'm like, but I don't always know the whole story. I don't know why did they vote that way on that bill? What happened that day? Is that bill doing what they're saying it's doing?
Right, because just because it's reported one way in the news doesn't mean that's actually what it's doing. Yeah.
Oh, here's an example of this that just happened this week. So yesterday, second funnel, we passed out the provider tax bill, HMO. Okay, so this has to do with, we had this shortfall in Medicaid come down from the BBB, right, the big beautiful bill. more pressure on the states to make up the difference. I mean, it's complicated, but
Yeah.
basically,
So Iowa
in the
has
end,
to come up with money for this.
it's on us to kind of bridge the gap here of what we're short. So, so we face some hard decisions. Like, so who's going to pay? Is it going to be you guys, you taxpayers, or what about the insurance companies who are making hand over fist in profit right now, millions and millions of dollars in profit, okay, who are only paying less than 1% tax to the state. Okay, it's like 0.8, I believe. Very small amount of tax to the state, what they call provider tax. And so as House Republicans, we voted to put that onto the insurance companies, especially it'll be like Wellmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, big. I mean, they insure like practically half of Iowa.
Seems like everybody in Iowa,
So we're getting pretty hit hard because groups were putting out there, Republicans want to raise your health care taxes. Okay.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. So you hear that, but what does that really mean? Do you understand that there's a provider tax? They're paying this little bit. It's like less than it's the lowest rate, like in most of the states. Hardly anything, and they've been doing that for a long time. They get a lot of breaks. They get a lot of goodies. We're gonna put it on them for 9 months. It's gonna raise $2.5 million, and we're gonna make up that deficit.
So $2.5 million.
$2.5 million is gonna come back down.
So the raising of taxes on Iowans in this case is going to add up to less than $1 per Iowan.
Yeah, when you think of our population.
Yeah.
The fear is people are saying, well, they're just going to pass that on to the consumer, right? They're going to pass it on.
Well, surely. I mean, that's how it works in
I
business,
hope not,
right? Like,
because that's up to them, though.
True. Yeah.
That is their decision, and that is true. Last year, they raised healthcare taxes. The healthcare costs 15%.
Oh, believe me,
15%
I'm a business owner. Like I see it. Like we provide like health insurance, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, inflation's at this, 3%, 5%, whatever it is, and like healthcare goes up 8%, 10%, 50%. I mean, it outpaces inflation every time, and that's,
Again, why we want to come back to the cancer issue, because who causes a lot of money to our healthcare industry? People who don't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and then people will also say, well, I can't when they're spraying everything. That is true too.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot for your body.
Yeah.
So that it can resist.
Right.
It can resist decay. It can resist just all of the things that are coming against you. Make it strong, make it healthy. And that is in your hands to do.
That's such a good point, is that this system we have in America only works when the individual takes responsibility. In the health way, I got to own what goes into my body. I got to own whether I exercise. I got to own like healthy lifestyle. But I also got to own the information I consume. Like, right?
Yeah.
If I'm just consuming garbage, there's really harmful stuff like pornography and like all that. But then there's also just junk food that's like, cable TV news or, whatever TV series, which
social
is
media.
Like, social media. Yeah.
Scroll.
If we as citizens don't consume good information, we become just as unhealthy in another way, mentally. And so there's all these things like where this either works because we the people make it work, or it falls apart. And
that's really important what you just said there, because this here, this mind is where the battle really is.
Yeah.
Okay? If you can have victory here, you can have victory here, you can have victory here.
Yeah.
And so if you can master the mind, and what does Scripture say? Take every thought captive unto obedience to the Lord Jesus Christ. So I always like to remind people of that, because we feel, again, fearful. We feel like things are out of our control, and some things are.
Right.
They just are. And, of course, we know, do not worry. You don't spend your time worrying on that. But we have the ability to live in such a way to be content and to be victorious. And I just always like to encourage everybody to take hold of that. Like, make your world. Like, make it. Like, you have the opportunity to do that. Do not squander it.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Right.
And it starts today. And it starts with little things every single day. Little things every single day.
Yes.
And You just got to do it. Like Nike says, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. Like what? I mean, faith without works is dead. You know?
That's right.
Like it's
That's right.
if you are going to appropriate the word of God that says the government is God's servant to do you good, if you say I believe that, well, that faith without the works could be a lot of things, but one of them obviously is voting. Like if you believe the government is God's servant to do you good, then you better do everything that God puts in your power to contribute towards that. You know what I mean?
As you say that, I'm reflecting on myself about how I feel like, because I do feel just like Brad Sherman, Eddie Andrews, they do feel called to run for governor.
Right.
And I certainly feel like I was called to do what I have done, and yet not necessarily being told that, but being, saying, okay, like he gave me some specific instructions, yes.
Yeah.
And actually it was just 2 words, and I didn't share that because it's a very personal story to me, but yeah, it was just 2 words, and that is oppose evil.
Yeah.
And what you just said there is essentially what but I don't look at it like that way. I'm just being obedient. I'm just doing what God has said. Go.
Which is what every single person needs to do.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different for everybody.
Yes.
And
where would you be without the people who supported you, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can't go be the legislator.
Yeah. It certainly isn't for everybody. And I'm just, yeah, I have a lot of questions for the Lord too as I move forward. Like, what does this look like? I remember when I got first elected, I'm like, I have no idea what's on the other side of this, Lord. But that's usually the case when God calls you into things that you that are so new to you. Is you don't know. You can only see just a little bit ahead of you, and that's all. Yeah. And that's all God says you have to see. So like you're just walking in obedience, and that's okay. That's okay. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to what is in store. I don't necessarily know what it is, but I just know that I feel good about being here with you and about talking about hard issues. And I shouldn't have to regret talking about things that Republicans would be like, oh, no, we don't talk about cancer because we don't have a problem, or what's wrong with our water, or, it's okay to have those.
Let's face them head on. We don't, and it's all right that they are unknown. Like Satan loves to operate in darkness and fear, and in that darkness he can create fear. So first of all, let's get the issues out in the light of day. It's okay to have a debate, like even if we make the farm lobby mad or whatever about let's just talk about this stuff that is going into our land here, and we want you guys to have success if you're in the farming industry, right? We all depend on that in Iowa. The prosperity of our state is invested in it. But we also are going to hold you accountable to make sure that you are responsible in the way that you do things, right? And what you put in the ground and what you all of that stuff. So
when you say that, who you remind me of is another governor candidate. We have such a big deal coming up here at the primary. Not only in my primary, but all this governor's primary. This has not happened for possibly forever in the history of Iowa. I looked back on the history of this, and I could not find a primary where there were 5 candidates.
Yeah, wow.
5 running at one time. This is nearly unheard of, I'm pretty sure. So one of them you remind me of when you say that is candidate Zach Lane, and his goal is to push back on big ag, big pharmaceuticals, monopolies that come in and just say, we're doing this, and nobody gets to say. And so, that again is one of those things where, he has a platform that he's standing really firm on. And I'm telling you, that's a really dangerous platform. That's pretty tough to do. Yeah. Because it's both those are 2 very powerful industries, and people should know that. Yeah. They don't want to have some conversations. And I just appreciate that he's like, nope. We're going to do this thing. Yeah. And same with Eddie and Brad. It was an honor to serve with them in the House. They were both House members with me, and their hearts are just true to their principles, true to their word. I'm going to tell you, voters they're going to have a hard choice. Yeah. Coming up in the primary.
It's tough. Yeah.
We've got some candidates that,
Yeah. God has to be the one. Like God's people in the Bible, the prophets were the ones who anointed the government leaders, right? I mean, we had that with Samuel and Elijah, and John the Baptist anointed the leader, right? Even Jesus, the King of Kings, didn't show up without a prophet to show him up. So like I believe if you are a faithful follower of Jesus, you have a role to play in anointing the leader, like through your prayers, through your votes, through everything. Like, and like we have to discern, like this isn't about, please, if you're a voter in Iowa in any election or anywhere, let us be the people that seek God's heart for who our next candidate is, not the person that I think is going to give me what I want out of the governor's office or my state legislator or whatever. Like it's just too big of a deal right now. We've brushed really close, and we're still in the fight for I think what we are in America is what a color revolution is, which is what happened in Russia that established communism there. In China, same thing. It's where these people divide us into camps, turn the camps into oppressor versus oppressed.
Oh, yeah.
Create chaos, create division, hatred, turmoil, capitalize on that, and overthrow the government and put in something that actually is so much worse.
And it doesn't matter what you divide on. Doesn't matter the issue. Just divide.
Yeah, that's the point.
So, yeah. So that's why I think it's so good. We come together and we sit down and we have these conversations. Yeah. And so whether it's Democrat, Libertarian, Republican, we're going to all just have a conversation about them because we can't be divided. We all know what that ends up in, right?
Yeah.
House divided.
Yeah. And let's face the issues with courage in that, like, we can talk about whatever the issues are. It's okay to talk about them, get them out in the light of day, and in the light of God's truth, we will have set ourselves up for the best success we can have in creating policies, laws, like movement in the government to like support a healthy community, which the rest of us have to have a responsibility to respond to as well. So.
Very true.
What else, Helena? Well, anything else people should know about you? Or
well, I'm just thinking about what you said there. That I just want to again encourage your viewers, whoever might be watching this, maybe weeks, months, years from now. Engagement. Just be engaged, because each one of us should have on our phones the phone numbers and the names of those that we elect. We should have their contact information in our phone. And I encourage you all to find it and to have it and to actually be connected to them. Mm-hmm. Because if we are a representative government and they truly represent us, according to the Constitution, they need to hear from we the people. Yeah. And unfortunately, the little thing that we forget to do and to teach in schools is that little part. Okay? And so I failed at that for quite a while for my own personal life. You know, like I said to you, I didn't know who my representative was because I forgot to value that thing in my life. And of course, phases of life change, and I can do that now, whereas it is harder when you've got a young family and stuff. But no matter where you're at in life, whether, retirement, middle age, young family, college, even yesterday I entertained a group of, it was a group of homeschoolers, lots of ages, 8, 10, 12, 14. Some of them I actually took them into a committee meeting, and I thought, oh, they're going to be so bored. They're just going to think this is so boring. And it's an education committee, and I kind of felt a little bit bad because we had about 6 bills, and it, when you sit in something like that for the first time, you don't really know what's going on. And we walk out, and I asked this one little 14-year-old boy, I'm like, so what'd you think? I loved it. And I was like, you did? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sounds good.
So it gives me hope. But again, engage. Little by little. The grassroots matters. And the truth is, that's where things can happen if we will engage. Yeah. And so I just cannot stress that point enough, okay? It's just, people feel oftentimes, they come to me like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make a difference. Mm-hmm. And there's so many answers to that. Yeah. So many answers. Run for library board, run for city council, run for there's so many boards and commissions and volunteer opportunities too, because we have a lot of people that come to the Capitol. They're not paid lobbyists. they're not with an organization. They're just their own little person. They show up at the Capitol and they just start talking to people. And I've seen this in 4 years, and they just keep coming back. And it's like, they're just so attracted to this thing. Like once you start in it, you're like, wow, this is actually interesting. And I am actually talking to people and I'm influencing ideas and people. And then they go back into the caucus and they voice those concerns that I just brought up to them.
Yeah.
And things
that just any
happen.
simple random person in Iowa can just hang out at our Capitol building and start to do that.
Yep. And you can. And you know what? You can even carry a gun when you're there. Just saying. It is a conceed carry building. So
I love it. I love it. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Amen.
I love that. So that's a reason for hope, right? Like look at who we are. Like
it is.
What we can do.
I think it's great. And we've done a lot in that area too. Our last majority leader, he stepped down last year. We have Representative Bobby Kaufman, who's our majority leader now, but Matt Winchittle was, and he's a big Second Amendment. In the House, like Second Amendment rules. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I have some people who contact me and they're like, I'm afraid that like we're going to lose our gun rights. I'm like, no, you're not. Don't worry. It's all good. Not in Iowa, not right now.
Not
Ain't
in
happening.
Iowa, not right now.
So yeah, just don't be fearful of that.
Very good.
But be vigilant.
Yep.
Because, things change. Things do change. So
and if you don't have time to run or whatever, like and you don't know how to vote, like connect with people. Like find somebody who you trust who actually and I mean one of the main things we need is just people who care about people, like right? So find somebody who is wise, who is caring, who has love, but also with courage and strength, and like learn from that person and like support the causes that they support and support your local people running for office and just engage. Like we can there's so much hope in like us coming together and saying, I'm not doing this for my own selfishness, I'm doing this to engage and build up my community, my state, my nation, and like for the good of everyone.
So if I were to ask you, because now that I'm elected and I'm trying to represent the people well, one thing I'm trying to always ask them is, what matters to you? And I think I know what you would say because you just said a lot of it.
Yeah.
But how would you answer that? What matters to you that I should know?
I mean, what matters to me in like the most basic thing of an elected official is I just wish that I felt like everyone in my government really loved me and loved my nation, collectively. And I think that's part of what me and a lot of people felt from Donald Trump, like for what I didn't even vote for him the first time around. People have heard my story, know that like I wasn't that way, but I felt that like, oh, this guy cares for my nation, like, right? The nation. And it's not just this geography or just these people, but he cares for the idea of we're the place and the people who were brought together by the things that we hold to be self-evident. We're created equal. We're like, this is a Christian form of government. There's no other religion. The atheists don't have an answer for like the idea that the rights that are unalienable come from the Creator, and it is the government's responsibility to protect those rights. So those, like if you can express those things to me as an elected official or as somebody in one of the departments or whatever, there's a lot of room to debate, right? Like I've got a lot of ideas about how education ought to run, but I'm willing to like allow some latitude for like somebody who's like just doing that to the best of their ability, like recognizing that training up the next generation or whatever. Like, I mean, there's just, and then like just enabling that to be done and trusting communities to do it at the, the most local level possible, like.
So you want your values to be reflected in your representative, and you want your rights defended.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to start making a list as people continue to give me those things, and I'm going to start writing that down because we think people are going to answer, I don't know, we think they're going to answer, I want I want lower taxes.
I want lower taxes. Well,
Like-
I want lower taxes too, but
Yeah, right. But no, what if people are not as engaged as we think they are, then in their life at that time, what does matter to them? Because something does.
yeah.
And I think sometimes we're surprised at what we might hear, or maybe not. But I think we should be asking that question. And so I think yours is the essence of what an elected official should really grasp onto. It's the wholeness of like, because that's foundational. What you just said, it's both foundational. The values, your values are, biblical, constitutional, and you want the government to do what the government's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Which is defend your rights.
Secure
and
the
so
rights. Yeah.
that's good.
Love that. Love that. Well, can I pray for you?
Please.
Yeah. All right.
Please.
Awesome. Father, I just lift up Helena and her campaign and the primary and all of the work she's doing in Des Moines, and just ask that you would make your face to shine on her, to build her up, to encourage her. Lord, will you give people into her life that are an encouragement to her, and speak wisdom into her life? And will you show her, shine light in her mind so that she understands where the path of wisdom is, and how, when there are those challenging moments and like she doesn't know what to do, will you show her like the next step, and show her your faithfulness, your unfailing covenant love, that you love her, that you called her to this, that it is a worthy and good pursuit, that you are enough. You can give her all of the tools she needs, all of the character strengthening and encouragement she needs to stay strong and to have good integrity as she just faces all the pressures of being an elected official. Lord, I ask that you would give her the voters she needs, and the money she needs, and the resources and the exposure to win her election, Lord. And will you make her a voice for illuminating the difficult issues in her district, especially, but also in Des Moines and all over Iowa, Lord. So we just ask, one more time for your encouragement, strengthening, illuminating wisdom for her, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Glory to God. Thank you for that.
Thank you for being here, Helena.
My
really appreciate
pleasure.
it. It's really good to have you.
Thank you. This has been fun.
Yes. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Very good.